Hello everyone, this is I'm Jaiwant Virk. I'm part of the product management team. So what we have right now to show you is an active fabric manager. We've been working on this product for the past 1.5 years. We've launched one of the versions earlier. What I want to say in support of this tool is that this is one tool which is going to be really helpful, and it has been widely accepted by some of our audience, which a lot of our customers who need a lot of help in generating, starting from the day zero kind of deployments. They need a lot of help around designing the network. They need a lot of help sometimes around planning the general purpose of planning around sometimes a campus network, or maybe sometimes around a data center. So what we have is what does it take normally to design? The very first problem people come up with is around designing. Not a lot of people have a lot of expertise. Not everybody can afford professional services for designing, just for that part particularly. And then of course consulting takes a lot of time. Then people come up with a lot of architectures. So we kind of help around with that, with the design part of it. So with this tool, we will start off with the design. We created wiring diagram. We go through a bill of materials that kind of generated, and you can then hand off this bill of materials and a complete wiring diagram to the people who are actually in the field, who are racking and stacking and cabling everything together. And then we help these through this tool to build around this concept that people have created a design around. And then you could have some basic troubleshooting around it. So that means if somebody's just miscabled some stuff, that will be called out in this tool. And what happened? Okay. And then you can operate it based on top of using all your monitoring tools and the technologies. Basic SNMP is part of it. You can plug and play some of the network management tools as part of this tool. So you can actually call in or use a lot of graphs. You can use a lot of statistics around this tool. Okay, so never mind. All right. So this is the first screen that we have here. Is we start off with designing a new fabric. Now I already have a fabric already designed here, and you could actually start with editing that, but I'm going to walk through some of the basic design setups. So design a new fabric, and we kind of go through some basic steps. We'll create a fabric which we can call maybe a San Jose data center. As you see that there are some basic options. Do you want this to be running on top of OpenStack Neutron, so that if you have any OpenStack installations there, do you want this thing to have a Neutron plugin as part of it? And then we go on to ask, now we'll take care of the fabric part. Now what you need to define really is what is it on the uplinks that you want that is connect to your WAN router or anything like a firewall or anything else. And then you also need to define the bandwidths on what is the bandwidth requirement for your servers. And we can choose that you have 10 gig servers. So by the way, you have USB sticks with each of you, and we have an OVF right now. You can download that, you can spin it up as we talk. Maybe you can start playing with it, but maybe later on we could I can go one-on-one around when we have lunch. So currently what we do define is an uplink. The number of uplinks you currently want could be at least 4. And what are the number of downlinks you're looking for? How many servers are you looking for? So let's just say you got like 500 10 gig servers, and you can also define how many in future are you going to grow. Let's just say we can take another 100 more servers. So as we go back on some basic, it presents us some basic designs. So we will take something which is something like this. So S6000 as a spine layer and S4810 as one of your leaf switches. It tells you that using this particular design, staying with this combination of S6000, you can have as many as over 1300 number of 10 gig switches, servers as part of it. And you have an option of choosing 110G base T or maybe 10G SFP plus kind of optics. And you have stacking enabled as part of it, so you can choose if you want your stacked access switches stacked or not. You have other options. So we can take the mixed node resiliency one, which is going to be VLT. VLT is our technology, which is virtual link trunking. People know it in the industry as multi-chassis lag or some other names. And what we have here is also now the number of downlinks. It will give you that this particular design is going to give you that many number of switches, servers. So now we can move forward with that. And you've been presented the access layer switches as a pair because you chose it as a VLT pair. Now your switches are going to be dual homed into these switches, the top of rack switches. You can choose, I want this as an SFP only, or I want those as a 10G base T. So you can choose, pick and choose some of those. So you can mix and match between the 10G base T and the fiber. And it presents you with the design of a leaf and spine. And now we can go ahead and take a look on how this is the graphical look. You could take a look at how this would going to be looking like in a tabular format or maybe in a graphical format. And you get a complete wiring plan. And if you were to just click on any one of those, you will see that this is an S6000. All the interfaces, what's going to be connected to which switch. So you have a complete wiring diagram to go with. You can print this out, maybe generate, and then you could also export it as a Visio diagram. So this part is kind of pretty easy for people to start off with. So your network designing, we kind of take the complexity out of the basic network designing exercise. So on the next page, we are generating a kind of a summary of all you got, and it also generates not only just the wiring plan, but it also generates the number of ports that you would be using, how many number of DACs you are using, how many number of fiber cables you would be using. So we can go ahead and finish on this part, and now you could actually go ahead and do a pre-deployment of that. So we just created this mix, there's one already in place, and then there is a San Jose DC. This one is already now ready to be deployed. So in this part, what we would do is do some basic level configurations. We will define what is it that you want to need for the northbound interfaces. Do you want to run OSPF? You want to run BGP on that side? And what do you want to do for the VLANs for your access layers? So we can go ahead and define all of that. What I would want to show you is something like an existing design, and I could do a pre-deployment of that. So we've already done this once, and I'll just show you what we did here. So you create an area ID of what you want to do here, and then you have a loopback IP address. This is your own loopback IP. You give it a subnet, and it's going to have a /32 given to every single switch on the top, on whichever is kind of participating for your OSPF. So and then you have an option of using your local IP addressing, and what is it that you're going to have on the remote side. You create some additional VLANs. What VLAN is going to be part of what of your access switches. So this is for your top of rack switches. You can add a VLAN range, and then you can associate all of those VLANs with particular switches, and then you can auto populate those for all of your switches. If you have all of your top of racks looking like the same, all VLANs kind of be participating on all the top of racks, then you can have a auto switch copy configuration. It's going to generate a configuration identical for all of those. You can have port channels defined for your NIC teaming for your servers. And then the other part is that you could actually define now that you've designed your leaf and spine architecture, you want to associate on the what is happening on the physical side of it. So you designed an aggregation layer, you designed an access layer, but how do you match what's on the field, what's on the rack with what is actually on your design board? So what we do is we take a CSV file, which kind of you get that CSV file as part of your order. So nothing that you'd have to build it on anything on your own. So what you do is you just match the MAC addresses on what's been on rack 1, top of rack. You match that MAC address with what's there on your map. You upload that here, and then you can choose. Well, it doesn't have a CSV file right here, but you can mix and match, and you can choose that this is the role I want to play. So this is the aggregation role for the Z9000 or a 6000, and that's the aggregation role for one of the 4820Ts. So you can create this this matching of actual design and your what's on the floor. So we move forward on that. We ask you for some default gateways, some basic services. We are already moving towards generating an auto configuration for everything.
So I've got a quick question for you.
Sure.
Real quick. In all of the management and addressing schemes, it shows all of the V4. Is there any roadmap or availability of V6, IPv6?
Well, V6 is right now supported by the switches themselves, but it's just not showing up in this tool right now. So in the next version, we're going to have an option of having a V6 support. So even today our management interfaces could be V6 enabled.
Okay, thank you.
So some basic information around management with SNMP. I'm kind of moving at a very faster pace just in interest of time. And the next part is that you can define some of this tool. It essentially has a TFTP server inbuilt. It also has an FTP server, and it does a basic bare metal provisioning of the switches. So that's how this tool gets to know on what switches, what configurations do they need to have, what basic management capabilities do they have. So as soon as you bare metal the switches, the switch will go ahead and pull this information down on its as a startup configuration, and then reboot itself into the configuration that we would want it to start off with. So right now it just generated a DHCP config file for you, and you have an option of using this local DHCP server. If you already have an existing DHCP server, you just have to copy this thing and then paste it into your DHCP server. So it just did generate 6 different configuration files for all the switches, and now you're presented with the final view of what you have in place as of today. So you have all of these switches with the switches are not provisioned as of today right now. They have a certain image associated with them, but now at this time your equipment is ready for actual deploy. So when you are ready for that, you just have to power cycle the switches, and then from that point onwards your bare metal starts to happen, and now you're ready for your deployment. We don't have an actual deployment right now. This is a remote setup, so I can just show you what we would have in that case. So in this case, you just have you can choose selected one of those, and you don't have to deploy everything. You can start off with some of the design elements that you want to start with in your first stage. Mind you, we have actually designed this fabric for something for your future growth as well. So you're not going to have all those switches in-house as of today. So you will have some basic requirements in there. Your spine is going to be there, your leaf is going to be there, only some of those. So we will go ahead and deploy some of those. So it kind of goes ahead and deploys some of those. So let me just go back and show you what exactly did we do on an existing fabric which has already been deployed. On this particular node, this is your fabric view. So this top view is giving you a context sensitive view of the whole network. So this is the fabric view of this particular fabric, and you can go ahead and take a look at what all other elements you have, and let's just see what is the CLI that was generated for this thing. So in this part, this is the auto-generated CLI. You could have associate some basic templates that are not considered in your initial deployment, but you have some customized applications around it. You can define those as custom templates. You can have some of your custom configurations, maybe switch sensitive, specific to a certain switch. So now you can go ahead and take a look at the final configuration. And this is your final configuration, that is your startup config for the switch. And as I just said, that the last one, that custom configuration also shows up over here. So it's a pretty powerful tool for people who want a quick route from designing and planning and up to the time of your actual implementation of the network. It gives you a very quick time turnaround, and then of course it kind of reduces your total cost of ownership in a lot less number of people required to manage this whole fabric. So any questions you have so far on this?
So you've showed the tool as a deployment tool.
Yes.
Is it useful beyond that for monitoring, alerting, reporting, these sorts of things?
Yes, absolutely. So sure.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I can tell you that verbally.
Jay, let him do it. Answer.
Sure. All right. So what we do in this is that the moment you generate the cabling diagrams and everything, at that point the switches are then up and running. Let's say everything is up and running and the configuration's been downloaded. From that point onwards, it detects that is the cabling really done right way or not. So LLDP and everything is in place. It kind of matches up that with what's there on your design board. So those errors and logs are generated for you to go ahead and fix those things. And from that point onwards, the basic the basic FCAPS things are also be done. Now we have a tool called OMNM, which is kind of integrated with this. So you can do your basic traditional link detection and the link statistics and number of packets in and out. That can be done with this thing also.
Okay. I think the key here is, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, right? But the CCI certification, the days of consultants, they're limited in my mind. Okay, tools generate CLI for you, right? I love you guys with technical experts, hands-on, but guys, right? Linux is the way to go. Automation is the way to go. Simplicity is the way to go. It's not the network networking that we used to know.
It's those CCIEs are going to configure it for you, right?
That's
Don't
right.
throw out the baby with the bathwater. Don't be too aggressive about that, or you'll just alienate people, right?
No. I'm just saying.
Because you still have to know what the hell you're programming, right?
Fair enough, but I'm just saying.
And you got to troubleshoot it.
The biggest
And you have to
problem we
troubleshoot
have
it.
today with developers is developers who can't speak the product.
That's fair. That's
you go
fair.
and talk to the guys who write the product in the back room, and you say to the developer, "What's a VLAN?" And he goes, "I don't know. It's just a tag." It's just a variable number, and you go, "No, buddy, it's got meaning, it's got reference, right?" You still need that, right?
You still need that, but we're trying to show you things that simplify, and you don't need the reliance on that, right?
Yeah, no.
Whether it's, I don't know how many lines of CLI got generated by the tool, but it just speeds up the deployment and allows a server admin to do it.
But that's where your messaging's wrong.
Yeah.
You're making statements like, "I'm sorry, CCIEs, I'm sorry, consultants, you go away." That messaging's totally inaccurate.
Yep.
Okay.
So especially in a
What-
room
what
full
you're
of consultants.
Especially
Well, it makes
when those
What you're-
consultants.
Well, I'm glad I created some
architecture
controversy.
still
What your
important.
messaging should be is, we're giving you the tools to take away the crap you don't want to do,
Right. Okay.
and to allow you to move on to really affect the businesses who have hired you to do this.
So there is a reason I made that statement. And
Piss us
thank
all
you.
off?
No, no, there's a reason. Get you back energized, but more importantly, so we were thinking that the most people who will adopt these are the server admins. Well, guess what? You exactly hit the nail on the head. This has been very widely adopted by the network admins because it makes their life easy, right? It eliminates day-to-day mundane tasks, and that's why I think it is important that the collaboration between server and network admins happens. So I was trying to make a point in a sort of more dramatic manner, but anyway, let's continue.